Hello and welcome to our podcast Hearts Histories. In this 5-episode series, I'll be speaking to 6 older and old LGBT plus people who live in Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin, and reflecting on how their lives and experiences have made them the person they are today. This is available in both video and audio, so if you're currently watching and would rather be listening, head to any of the podcast apps and search for Embrace Inclusion to find our channel. Or equally, if you'd rather be watching this series, then our YouTube channel is Embrace Inclusion. Or head to the website lgbtsand.com to find it. So on to the show. This episode's guests are Lis and Mary, who are both in their 70s and live in the Telford area. They also recently got married in a Quaker ceremony. Despite being a couple, they have very different experiences of growing up as lesbians, and it's really interesting to hear how those experiences have contributed to their conversations around ageing. We hope you find this episode really insightful, and that after listening to the conversation, you'll be able to better understand the older and old LGBT plus people you interact with as part of your work. So it's Hearts and History podcast. Thank you so much, Lis Sutherland, Mary Noble, for joining us today.
Yeah.
So Lis, first of all, where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Bedford, but moved to London when I was 4. So basically, I consider myself grew up in London. Mm-hmm. Spent most of my life in London until I retired, and then moved to Leicester, and then met Mary, and I moved over about a couple of years to Newport, Shropshire.
Where did you grow up, Mary?
I was born in Nottingham, but my father was in the services, so I've been all over really. As a child, we just had 18 months here, 18 months there.
So moved around a fair amount.
Moved around an awful lot.
So
yes.
what was that like? What was that like? You know.
That was more difficult as you became older as a child, because you had to make new friends, you had lots of new schools. And actually I haven't got any friends from school because I kept moving all the time.
I'd say, it's tougher
to keep in touch.
To keep in touch from that point of view.
So that's it. And then finally lived in Shropshire, moved to Shropshire.
Quite a long time ago, though.
Yes, a long time ago. Yeah, so 40 years.
So you've been in Shropshire quite a long time.
I've been in Shropshire a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
What about your childhood then, Lis? What was that like in London?
London suburbs. It's good. I liked access to London. I still like going back to London now and again.
And so, Mary, what brought you to Shropshire then? 40 years ago?
Well, yes, my parents actually left me in Shropshire because I decided that was it. Then I couldn't do any more travelling. Mm. And so eventually I did a teacher's training course and went into teaching and have taught in Shropshire. I was head teacher of a couple of schools in Shropshire.
Lis, you said you identify as a lesbian. When did you kind of start to realise that, would you say?
Quite early on, I would have said probably around 14, 15. One story that I always tell, and I think it says a lot. I went to the cinema to see a Doris Day film, and I don't know, Rock Hudson, one of those, so it was in the early 60s, and came out, and my girlfriend, who I'm still in touch with, actually saying, I could imagine myself in the arms of Rock, whoever the male was. And I thought, I didn't. I was more attracted to being with Doris Day. So, and I thought, I knew not to say anything.
Why did you not say anything?
I don't know. I just didn't. I knew it wasn't right.
But
it wasn't to be expected. I just clocked it. I thought, dear, what's that about?
But you had those feelings.
I had that feelings. I just knew. I just knew. And then Dusty Springfield, I know she never came out and everything, but I really liked her, and I thought, and you heard rumours quite early on about her. I thought, yes, that's me. So then it was me having to find the lesbian world, which was difficult.
Was it similar for you, Mary? Can you remember when you realised?
Not really. I just think that I was at work and I fell in love with a woman. And she fell in love with me, and I'd never been interested in men. I'd always been in groups if we went out with boys and girls. And really, with my life as it was, going round, it wasn't gender specific really, because you just went. I had a lot of friends who were boys, but that was just friendships because they happened to be there on the base at the same time as I did in my age, you know. So I fell in love with a woman, and that was it. And it was very easy for us because we were both professionals, so we set up house together and lived like that.
And so was that
fun.
when you were teaching? Was
Yes,
that, yeah?
Yeah. So, and partner was professional as well. And that's how, and so really we had a very quiet life, really, together. And then we wanted to find more. And but I went to the Church of England at the time and was made to feel or felt that I didn't fit in there, and that I was not how I was a sin, if you like.
Why do you think you felt like that?
So I think it was just I didn't believe in all the liturgy and that I was a sinner, you know, really, because I wasn't living the heterosexual life, and that was that. So I started then to look round and got in touch with the Quakers, who are a lot more liberal, if you like. Well, they are. And to get to there, I think what I did, I think it might have been through Lesbian Line. What was the one called in Shrewsbury? The Gay Switchboard. And so I got in touch with some people from there who I'm still in touch with, but have been great friends and great support. And made another friendship with another couple of women, which was nice. And neither of us are together with the same partners now, but it was just nice to have other people.
You
there.
had that kind of support network.
Yeah. And then I got more into Quakers, and that was very supportive, and got more confidence, I think.
Was it something that you discussed with your colleagues when you were?
No, I was very. I didn't discuss my private life with anybody really. Just turned the subject to dogs or something like that. Yeah. So nobody ever asked me, funnily enough.
Liz, you said you found it tougher to kind of embrace that world.
It was difficult finding it.
Was it?
Because we were talking about a time before all these gay switchboards, anything like that. So I've found it eventually. I found people eventually. I was even thinking of joining the RAF or something like, the services. You thought, oh, there must be lesbians in there. But I didn't. And in the end, the killing of Sister George came out, and there was an interview on the radio with them about the Gateways Club. Anyway, I wrote a letter to the Gateways in those days. It's difficult to understand this now, but I wrote a letter and they wrote me back saying you can come down at any time. Thursday, I think they said. So I went down to the Gateways and there met my tribe. It was really nice. I met a couple of people.
What was it like then, that moment where you found...
It was just lovely, just talking, sitting down to people, and they introduced me to Kenrick, and then I was off and running with Kenrick. But what happened that night, it's a moment I always remember. I walked down to the station, Stone Street, to get the train back home, and I sat down. I thought, wow, it just felt at home. It was lovely.
Because it had been, I guess, a long time searching for that moment. Yeah.
And yes, I can feel quite emotional when I talk about it now. Yeah. It was lovely just finding people who I could just be myself with.
Yeah.
And the gay scene gay and lesbian scene has always been really important to me, and still is. But I'm having to live less with it now.
Was it was it something that you discussed openly, outside of that scene? Was it something that you spoke about?
No, I got very good, and still am quite good at sort of keeping below the radar, and just keeping stuff hidden.
Why do you think you do that? Why?
Just by being accepted. I mean, although I worked at the BBC, it wasn't good to be out as a gay or lesbian. in those days. And there's still no proof to it, but I reckon I didn't get a job in children's television because of the producer knew I was gay. Individuals would know I was gay if they came round to my house or something. I didn't keep it an absolute secret from colleagues I was working with, but I didn't talk about it. Never made it explicit. But I still think I went for a job and I was warned I wouldn't get it. And how do you prove that you're sort of prejudiced?
That was the reason.
That's the reason. You can't. It's.
Were your family supportive? Were they?
My parents I did tell them in the end. When I was quite old, late 30s, I would have thought, and they said, "Oh, fine, but just don't talk about it." So.
And how did you feel? How did you feel when they said that, or were you kind of just used to not talking about it?
Yes, used not to talk about it. I thought, oh, okay, My brother was talked. I mean, he was quite supportive. No, but that actually meant that my extended family never knew about my sexuality at all. And when my mother died, so my final parent died, I told them. Because my mother really didn't want me to tell anyone.
She was the one that had said not
to tell. She
to
really
tell.
didn't, and my father wasn't keen, but my mother definitely did not want it seen.
So how did they react when you finally told them?
Oh, no, really, they were quite, I was a bit angry, And we're not a close family.
But
Anyway.
angry because you'd kept it from them, do you think? Is that
So
right? Even though it was...
Oh, didn't you tell us?
What about your family, Mary?
My family have been very supportive.
Yeah?
Yeah. My dad said, look, just bring anybody to this house. You're all welcome. And that's what I did. So I never had to hide it from my family. And that was quite nice, actually.
Oh, yeah. That must be nice to have that support around you.
Yes.
So, Liz, have you faced discrimination, would you say, and homophobia?
Yeah, I mean, we have to go back into the late 60s, early 70s, really, to start looking at that. When I came out, I went to the gateways, and you had to be really careful leaving gay clubs. There were a couple, the Gates was known. I came out of there a couple of times. Once I was spat at, and the other time you were just abused. You just have to walk on, head down, walk on fast. And there were mixed gay clubs I used to go to frequent with friends, and we just you wouldn't leave on your own. You'd right, are you ready to go? Then you'd go into somewhere and then leave. Again, when I first joined the gay lesbian scene, a friend of mine, a very good friend at the time, actually didn't talk to me again. Couldn't cope with it. So
never again.
Never again. Never did. I did try and make contact. Never did. So it's and you have to. Yeah, I just built a wall.
But that's a lot to take in, isn't it? There's a lot to take in, and
you tend to get hurt, I think, or I did.
How does all that then make you feel? How does it, when you've had to build up this brick wall? It's
well, I worked. Oh yes, but the brick wall, I put it up, but then I joined a Zen Satipatthana group. It was. I worked with a Zen Roshi for about 15 years, and there he challenged my wall, and I started breaking it down, letting more people in, if you like. He used to describe it, and I think it was very good as a turret. I had turrets all the way around me. But then I was in therapy, you see, for years. I then went into therapy. I became a therapist, but I was in personal therapy for years.
And has Mary helped you, do you think, with her?
With
her,
what happened?
Her
well, Mary softened
side,
again. Yeah? She softened me. She says, "Well, what if? What if that isn't the case? What if they aren't out to get you? Because that still comes up."
Yeah.
And because you're a little bit too soft sometimes for me, aren't you?
Does Liz challenge you the other way then, Mary, sometimes?
Yeah, I'm a cynic, definitely cynic, and will always see the cynical side of it. And Mary is idealistic.
Yes.
So how did you two meet? How?
Through Quakers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really? I came from a very churchy family. My father was a Methodist. And I fell out with the church around my sexuality. They were so rude about, not me personally, but they were rude about it. So then I became a Buddhist, and my sexuality was totally accepted. And then I came to the end of that path after about 15 years and looked around, and I joined Quakers, so this is about 3 years ago. There's a Quaker lesbian group as well, which I'm still involved with. And it was through that I eventually met Mary. And that was not that long ago, really. I mean, what was it?
7 years ago. Yeah.
7, 8 years ago.
Yes, because I was 70. I thought, God,
Yeah, that's right.
I've fallen in love again.
It's never too late.
No. But I mean, one of the best things is that we can actually be ourselves all the time, and it's accepting of lots and lots of different people, Quakers, and so you do get a very broad mix of people. And they were very supportive. We've had a Quaker wedding.
Congratulations.
At our
So that was fairly recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, last June. Yeah.
Yes.
Strange, weird though, having lived all your life not being able to marry and none of those complications of divorces and stuff, but then, it's weird then to
had you thought that you would never get married?
Yeah, never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind until we thought, we could.
And so how are you finding it now as a married couple?
It's not a lot of difference, really. I don't think. People keep saying, there's not a lot of difference, but
I think it's given me confidence. I don't know why. It's a funny thing to say, yeah. But we've never had any problems. I've had a number of health issues and always accepted Liz as my partner or whoever I was with, and there's been no problem with that at all. And we've just been involved very recently. And we haven't met any prejudice at all.
I just walk in with
her
in the session, and that's it.
It's
so
really
far
lucky
so good.
Yes,
I'm sort of quite surprised.
For having for so many years not talked about it, so now just be able to be open.
Not that I go and tell the doctor I'm gay, but I'm lesbian. It doesn't really come up. But
but it's not something you have to hide.
It's not something I have to feel I have to hide either.
So how is it being in the LGBT plus community in Shropshire for you?
For me, I don't know where it is. That's the problem for me. I come from somewhere where there's a gay and lesbian centre, so you know where to go. There's no centre at all here, I don't think. I haven't found it.
So it's wider.
What I've reconciled myself, I joined the U3A, and to me they're all very straight. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't talk about my sexuality at all.
No.
Where I have problems is I can't. A lot of people talk about grandchildren, children. So I don't have that, so I can never connect with people that way. So I find myself on the edge quite a lot because of that, I think.
Now, how does that make you feel?
I wish there was people here who don't have their
who could relate,
who talk about their life or experiences. But so now and again, I mean, the more I go to the groups, the more you just get to recognise people, but you just don't talk about personal stuff. They very soon know that when they're talking about grandchildren, I think I get glazed. I'm not interested. They sort of learn that really quite quickly. Doesn't mean anything.
As you grow older, do you have some fears about getting older and what that could mean for you?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I think we both found, even preparing a little bit, talking to you today, you know, you're talking about something you don't actually want to think about, and yet you have to. You do. We've worked out, haven't we? I mean, we've worked out that the house can be adapted. We've adapted our bathroom so we've got a walk-in shower.
They could have a stair lift because next doors have got that. Yeah.
No, it's thinking like that, isn't it? You know.
And yes, we have friends also who are ill, who are dying, and some that have. And we know what we don't want to, and we'd rather stay at home as far as we can. You know, I do want there to be some of my group left, some of my tribe left.
Well,
you know, this is the thing.
I think this is the difference, isn't it? You know, straight people who've got married and had children, there's someone there that if you're in trouble, they will mostly come in and help you sort it, care home or all that sort of stuff. Well, if Mary wasn't there, then I've really not got anyone.
You kind of have to do what you can, you know,
and hope,
and just hope, really.
Hope, and trust. Yeah. I'm not good at trusting, but you do, you know, have to trust, really.
Why do you think you're not good at trusting?
Oh, I don't trust people. I mean, I think that's from that.
Do you think it comes back from those?
From the early days of not quite knowing how we'll react, how people will react.
So do you think that would fall into if you know you had to be cared for or something like that? Do you think you would struggle with trust? Do you think you would?
Yes, I would. I always say that one of the most important things in any care home, if I have to go into a care home or into a hospital, is to have staff who are also LGBT. So, who can maybe, I mean, youngsters today don't quite understand the history, but I think they have some idea. So it's far better. I mean, my mother was in a care home, so I didn't have I mean, it was an awful time, and she was a straight woman. But this presumption that you've got grandchildren and you like children and what you like and what your life's been like is totally not for me. People do tend, I think, especially in older people, to see, oh, you must be straight. It's never, I don't think my generation ever presume anything else.
So having people who can relate to that around
would be so important. If there was that, I would be better. If not, I'll just keep my mouth shut.
As you have done for,
as I have,
you know,
and I'm good at. Yeah.
But how does that make you feel, Mary? How does that?
I'm very different, I think, because I'm more trusting.
Well,
which probably goes back to your upbringing and the acceptance that was there, you know, straight away, and the support.
Yeah. And I've had support from years and years ago. It was the GP, my GP, who got me in touch and told me about Switchboard in Shrewsbury. You know, so I've had very positive. I have been lucky. I know that I have been lucky. Yes, so I think I'm expecting, probably wrongly, but I do expect to be treated more kindly.
So if it comes into it and care is required and they have to come into your home, how do you think you'd feel about that? Yeah,
we talk about this quite a lot, don't we? Because we know people who are using care services, providers. If I hear of something about a care provider, I'll clock it, you know, I'll remember it, and it's a matter of keeping up to date with that. Same with care homes. You know, they can change.
I think also it's important. We're talking about while we can make decisions, and that we've protecting our finances and our home. We've got it so that it's fit for when we're later. That has also got to be something that we consider. What kind of people we want, whether we want male or female, whether we obviously straight away I would tell them that we are a lesbian couple. And so it's important that everybody that came in to look after us knows that.
And understands.
And understands that. And hopefully would have a bit of an idea of background or the kinds of life. Yes. And talk about us at that level as if we're human beings. Would be nice. Yeah, so I think that would be really important. And hopefully one of us would be able to make the choices, if one of us isn't well.
That's the problem. When, if one of us is left and you can't make the choices, that's really scary. Scary stuff. Don't like thinking about it.
Do you have powers of attorney set up?
Yes, we do. We're still...
We both have that, and we both made a will, but that isn't sufficient, so we have to have power of attorney too for each other, with it's for health and one for finance. And that's really important that we've got that security behind us.
Mine's quite bizarre though, because if my power of attorney's Mary's got that, but if that should fail, then it's a solicitor. So you've always got to think, well, what if the other it's...
I also think it's a sense of security when you've made your power of attorney, when you've got that sorted. It's like a big sigh, and it feels like a safety net, or it did to me.
Yeah.
So we want all those little things sorted out, really, while we can do it.
Yeah.
And once you've done it, it's a lot of trouble, but once you've done it, it's done, isn't it?
While you can. Well, let's hope you can for some time yet. Let's hope. It's been lovely chatting to you both. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again on the wedding, Lis and Mary. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Hearts and Histories, brought to you by the Shropshire Rainbow Film Festival and Embrace a Culture of Inclusion. If you haven't already, please check out the other 4 episodes of this series, which are available to watch and listen to. And if you found the content useful, we would love it if you could share it with other individuals and service providers who work with older and old people. If this has inspired you to make your own provision more inclusive to LGBT plus people, then head to lgbtsand.com to see more of our resources. These resources have been split into beginner, intermediate and advanced, and each resource includes an indication of how much time you need in order to get value from it. So whatever stage of the inclusion journey you're on, and however long you've got, these resources can help you to embrace a culture of inclusion.